People want to know where the next Wonderkids are potentially coming from. And mark my words, every single one of these is going to go on to be an absolute elite player at the highest level. Before we go into these players, I've been searching high and low. I've been doing my research into all these, how they've got on at youth level, how they're getting on now in their current teams. And really, I've found some absolute pearlers here for you. And make no mistake, guys, these are going to absolutely ball out on FM26, mark my words. So my choice for the goalkeeper position, starting off with Tommaso Martinelli at Fiorentina. He's currently in the under-20s, but in real life, he is in and around the first team. He did come through the Fiorentina youth setup. People are speaking absolutely so high of this kid. He's currently playing in some of the younger levels for the Italian national team. But make no mistake, guys, this kid is going to go on to play plenty of games for the full Italian national team setup. He's already very, very good on FM24 and he's going to massively improve on FM26. And he's already 6'4". That is a bit of a man mountain considering he's only 17 years of age. If you are going to start off a career at Fiorentina, you will have this kid to use and kind of grow and mould into a player for the future. Is he ready for the first team straight away? I think he will be on FM26. He's got the stats, he's got the ability, he's definitely got the potential. May take a few years to nurture him into a world-class goalkeeper, but even if you're not at Fiorentina, I think you'll be able to pick up this little gem here, anything up to about £10 million. Fiorentina won't want to part ways with the young Italian, but if you can get him, he will make for a fantastic number 2 straight away and eventually going on to become your brand new number 1. And in my honest opinion, I think he will go on to be the Italian goalkeeper first choice as well. Now, the right back for me, I've watched him a couple of times this year in the Eredivisie. I also watched him play against my team, Aston Villa, in the Europa League. And Givairo Reid is definitely going to be something special. 17 years of age, can play pretty much anywhere down the left, anywhere down the right. And he's a very, very strong player. Already valued anything between 9.8 and 12 million pounds. But expect his fee to go up astronomically on FM26, probably around a 25 to 30 million pound sort of price bracket. He is currently playing for the Dutch under-21s, or is it the under-18s? I'm not too sure, but you know, he will go on to be a fully fledged Dutch international over the next few years. There's a lot of people watching him at the moment. I fully expect him to have a couple of seasons at Feyenoord before he goes on to get his massive move to a big European club. Now, he did come through the Jong Volendam Academy and then Feyenoord swooped on him. He's not going to be on a lot of money. So if you can try and get this player in, I think it will be one for the future. Not for straight away, but he's got really good physicals. And his technicals and his mentals are only going to improve over the months and years to come. So Givario Reid, definitely a right back to keep an eye on. And I think he's definitely going to be a superstar in the future. Not just for Holland, but for whoever or whichever club he's currently playing his football at. My choice for left back, we're in Belgium at Genk, and it is Yaimar Medina, the 18-year-old Ecuadorian. Now, he's already played for the under-20 team, but sooner rather than later, he is going to be a fully fledged international for Ecuador. Can play anywhere down the left-hand side. Can also feature across the attacking midfield areas, but much more suited to the left-hand side of the pitch. Physicals are fantastic. Technicals, not so bad for 18. His mental attributes will improve year upon year. But like we said, he's 18 and he's really still learning his trade. He come through the Independiente de la Valle team in Ecuador before going on to Independiente Juniors and then on to Genk as well. He's on a very small wage, 2.7k per week. His value on here is up to £8 million, but on Football Manager 26, I reckon you're really going to see that value creep up towards the 15 to 20 million pound area. You may not be able to sign him on the first season, but if you can get him in the second season or maybe in the winter transfer window, you are definitely going to have one of the best potential left backs in world football. But does, you know, once again, offer you some versatility pretty much all across the pitch. Medina is a player I'm going to keep a very close eye on upon the release of FM26. He could go on to be an absolute superstar. And if he does, You definitely remember where you heard it first, here with me, FM Rage. Moving on to the centre-back partnerships now. Our first defender brings us to Udinese. It is Matteo Palma. On FM24, he's in the Udinese under-20s, but in real life, he's very much in and around the first team. He has got fantastic mentals, physicals as well. Very, very good. Technical ability is slightly improving on here, but nothing out of this world just yet. But like we said, he's 17. He's already got tackling of 14, marking 13. He's a centre-half, so we don't really need to look at any of those other numbers on there. Corners, crossing, finishing, doesn't really matter. He's there to defend. And from looking at that there, he can definitely do a job early on here. He hasn't actually had any call-ups yet for Italy, but at 17 years of age, time's definitely on his side. And he will go on to get call-ups for the national team set up over the next few years. He's come on leaps and bounds. Now, he did come for the Udinese Academy and he stepped up really, really quickly into the first team. And he's another player that people are speaking very highly of. And make no mistake, guys, if this kid can reach any of the heights what people expect him to do, FM26, he could absolutely ball out and go on to be one of the best centre defenders on the game. I don't think too many people out there would have heard of Matteo Palma. I do watch a lot of Italian football and he looks very, very impressive. His contract on here is only £220 a week, but I know in real life he has signed a professional deal. So I would have thought it'd be on about maybe £1,000, £2,000 a week, and a transfer value will massively increase. It's not going to be £120,000 top end. He's a young prospect, a lot of talent, a lot of promise in the future. So I reckon to try and get his signature early on, this is just me guesstimating now really, I'd expect to pay anything up to about maybe £7.5 to £10 million to bring in Matteo Palma to your football club. The second centre-half is one that you guys and girls will probably recognise a bit more, and it is Pau Cubarsí of Barcelona. Now, he's come through their youth team setup, and you know the kind of quality players that Barcelona bring through their youth setup, and this is an absolute prime example. Cubarsí coming out of nowhere, 16 years of age, can play anywhere across the back line, can play in defensive midfield, but look at them stats, everyone, technical, mental, physical, and that's 16 years of age, and he's absolutely set the world alight since coming into this Barcelona team. Come out of nowhere. So mark my words, on FM26, his stats are going to go up astronomically. He's already very, very, very good on here for 16 years of age, but he's just showed he can play at the very highest level at such a young age. He's got a new contract at Barcelona, so I would have thought he'd be on probably £20,000, £30,000 a week now for his age, which is not so bad. And his value on here is up to 24 million, but that is going to be nowhere near. We all know Barcelona's money troubles in real life. I reckon if you're a club out there, you might expect to pay around 50, 60, maybe even 70 million pounds, but be under no illusions, guys and girls, if you could bring in Pau Cubarsí to your football team, you will have one of the elite defenders of the future, make no mistake. Moving on to the two centre midfielders, and first of all is Mohamed Bamba, currently sat in the under-23s at Gil Vicente, but in real life he's very much in the first team and playing some minutes. Now, he did start his career at Reims, then Gil Vicente snapped him up on a free transfer. He's on very, very low wages, but I suspect he's on a little bit more than that in real life. Probably, I don't know, maybe £2 or £3 grand a week. But overall, he's a very, very good player. He's got a transfer value of absolutely nothing, but that's not right because on SofaScore, it's about, I think it's about £3 million, I think it was. But anyway, as a defensive midfielder, a ball winner, he's got some really, really good numbers on there straight away. And he's only 18 as well. Ivorian, he's going to go on to be an international superstar for the Ivory Coast. Physicals, very, very good. If you're a ball-winning midfielder, you want some acceleration, some good pace, some good strength. And he's got all that for such a young age. Mentals, still improving. And his technicals, not so bad either. 13 tackling, 11 passing, 13 first touch. He will definitely improve. He's an exciting prospect, especially in Portugal. Playing for Gil Vicente, he may be there for a season or two. And then a team maybe like Porto, Benfica, may come swooping on him for this potential wonder kid. But Mohamed Bamba, I think on FM26 will go on to be a very, very big name, mark my words. Now, next to Mohamed Bamba, we have the Sunderland man in Noah Siddiqui. Recently joined Sunderland from Anderlecht for a relatively small fee, but he's another player that people are really, really talking about. How long until he gets in and around the first team in the Belgian national team? Is he going to replace Yuri Tillemans, who of course is getting a little bit older? Belgium have got a lot of aging centre midfielders, but he does play as a deep line playmaker. Got some very, very good attributes. What really stands out to me is the mentals for such a young age. Now, just joining Sunderland, you're not going to be able to swoop on Siddiqui straight away on Football Manager 26. But I think after a season he's done, you're not going to be paying £900,000. I reckon you'll be looking at around maybe 20 to 30 million pounds to try and get this future Belgian starlet into your ranks, whichever club you are. But, you know, be under no illusions, guys and girls. This kid is going to go on. He's going to improve year upon year. And he's already looked really, really impressive from what I've seen so far this year. Now, when he was at Anderlecht, he did play a fair few games, actually, to be fair. Especially in the Futures team and in the Anderlecht first team as well, before getting his move to the Premier League. But yeah, keep an eye on Noah Siddiqui. He's young, he's learned his trade, but another player that has got a very, very bright future indeed. Moving on up into my favourite parts now, the attacking midfielders, areas and the striker department. But first of all, we're on the left-hand side. Now it is Alex Martial. Currently plays for Real Sociedad, did come through their youth team. On here, he's playing in the under-19s. But that's nonsense, because in real life, he's very much in and around the first team, mixing it up. And a lot of people are talking about this youngster. He's playing actually for the Spain under-20s team. And he's literally lighting it up wherever he plays. But straight away, what strikes you on here is the physicals, already superb. Mental attributes on there, determination 16, that is absolutely key. And the technicals are not so bad, especially for the positions he plays. He's got good technique, he can pass, and he's got decent dribbling and crossing as well. Only 18 years of age, the world's his oyster. And I think Alex Martial, he's definitely going to be the right winger to keep an eye on upon the release of FM26. And of course, there's going to be thousands of players out there, and other people will do videos about this who they think is going to be superstars. But this is just my research and the players I've seen and watched in real life. And Alex Martial is definitely going to be one of you, one to keep an eye on, and a player you definitely want to get your dirty little hands on. You're not going to be able to get him for £250 or £800,000. He's just got into the first team. You probably won't be able to sign him for the first year anyway, but all Spanish players do have a minimum fee release clause on their contract, so keep an eye on that. You may well have to pay probably 20, 30, 40 million pounds to get him in, and his wages is going to be on a lot more than £250 per week. He's probably going to be on about 10, 15 grand a week. But if you can get him before that release clause goes absolutely through the roof, because Real Sociedad love this kid. Spain in general think very, very highly of him, and if they slap a new contract on him and you don't get him in the first couple of years, you could end up paying about 80 to 100 million pounds for a player of this quality. But he will get a big move one day, whether it's to Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, only time shall tell. But if you can get your paws on him, do it while you can. On the opposite side, we're at Cadiz here, and it is Ismail Alvarez. And this is probably my favourite pick out of all of them regarding value for money. On here, he's valued up to 80k, and he's on a cheap wage. That's not going to be the case on FM26, but I reckon you'll probably get him for about, at most, about £10 million. He's probably on about £2 grand a week. If you're a very, very, well, not even a big European team, maybe even a mid-range Prem team, or even a low-end Prem team, you may be able to get Alvarez in. Will you be able to sign him in the first year? Probably not, because he's just broke into the first team at Cadiz in real life, so it may well be difficult, but you might be able to try and swoop on him actually in the winter transfer window. But straight away on FM24, all his stats absolutely stand out, especially for his mental attributes for such a young age. But he is definitely going to be my value pick out of all these players. Now, they did sign him from Real Betis on a free transfer. never really featured, played a few times for Cadiz B, got a couple of goals, had a couple of first team appearances back in 22-23 season, and then went back down to the B team. But since he's come back now this year, he's lining it up. He's got bags and bags of pace, and he's definitely electrifying to watch. And when he's running at you, defenders are scared, and he's enjoying his football, and the fans are really, really enjoying watching him there at Cadiz. How long can they hold on to him for? You tell me. A player of this quality doesn't go unnoticed, and he will be a big, big European club in the future years. Can you get your hands on him? Because I tell you what, guys, another player that I'm going to try my best to swoop on, get him into my team, and maybe, just maybe, nurture him into an absolute top-end elite player in the future. Moving on into the cam roll, and it is in Italy at Juventus, and it is Alessio Vacca, currently playing for the Juventus full team, week in, week out, and he's looking like he's just made for it. He's absolutely built for it. Only 18 years of age, into one of the biggest clubs, not just in Italy, but in world football. Now, he did come through the youth team here at Juventus, did spend a season at Monza on loan before coming back here to Juve and found himself getting in and around the first team. He's come on leaps and bounds. For me, this kid here, especially regarding the FM24 stats, his mentors are absolutely crazy for such a young age. Physicals, not that great, but in a cam roll, do you really need all that strength and stuff? Not really. But the technical side of things don't quite do him justice on Football Manager 24. When FM26 drops, he's in for a massive upgrade, and I think he's going to be, he's definitely going to be a 5-star potential player on the game. You're not going to get him cheap. Juve really do rate him very, very highly indeed. To throw him into the first team at 18 years of age just speaks volumes on its own. So I reckon you may end up paying around 20 to 30 million pounds for Alessio Vacca's signature. He is starting to break slowly but surely into the international setup for Italy. He's had a couple of youth caps in real life, but I reckon give it another year or two, he'll be a fully fledged Italian international, terrorise defences in that attacking midfielder area. Now my choice for a striker, we stay in Italy and we are at Inter Milan. Pio Esposito, he did come through the Inter Milan Academy and he already looks absolutely crazy good on here, and he has been touted apparently as the next Christian Vieri, which it takes some doing, because Vieri was an absolute menace to defenders, to goalkeepers. And looking at some of these stats on here, I can see what they're saying it, because Vieri was a bit of a beast in the air. He's got 16 heading, his finishing is 15, composure 13. His physicals are still pretty decent, could do with improving the stamina, but at 18 years of age, the world is really, it's his oyster. And to be thought that highly of at such a young age is crazy good. He's already in and around the international setup for Italy early on. I think it's the under-20s in now, but he's getting noticed, he's scoring goals, he's creating chances for people, and I think he'll be a fully fledged Italian international over the next couple of years. But there's no rush for the youngster. If these stats are that good on FM24, it's only going to improve massively on FM26. And this is going to be a bold statement now, really, really bold. You heard it here first. Francesco Pio Esposito will be the best wonder kid on FM26, sort of Erling Haaland levels by the time he reaches 24, 25. If you're managing Inter Milan, you're going to be able to keep hold of him. Is he going to want that big move to a PSG, a Real Madrid, a Man City? You know, it's hard to keep hold of players of that quality. Make no mistake, he's that good in real life already, and I think the max you can get is 5 stars. This kid should have 10. He's going to be that good. If you can get him, swoop on him, because if you don't get him in the first 3 or 4 seasons, if you are a giant club, you're going to end up paying maybe 100, 150 million pounds for a player of this quality. So that is my picks there for the best potential wonder kids on FM26. And if I'm honest, it's absolutely crazy good. Overall, I think there's some fantastic young talents in there. I've made some very, very bold predictions that could go absolutely massively wrong. But my picks aside, there is absolutely a massive pool of players to choose from. You may agree with all them in my team I've just picked. You may agree with none. There is so many young players out there, young talented players to pick from. I've just done my opinion on who I think is going to be the standout players on FM26. Let me know down below in the comments, guys, any of the players you think are going to go on to be the absolute best Wonder Kids on FM26. And like we said, there's so many to pick from. If you've enjoyed the video, guys and girls, make sure to like, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It is massively, massively appreciated. FM26 is now just around the corner. Sports Interactive, Football Manager just released the game.